We are supposed to root for the hero. We are supposed to want the good guy to win, the world to be saved, and justice to be served. But let's be brutally honest for a second. Sometimes the villain is just more interesting. In fact, sometimes if we're sitting alone in a dark theater, we actually catch ourselves agreeing with them and then immediately feeling a little guilty about it. But why? Why are we, highly social, empathetic creatures who rely on cooperation to survive, so inexplicably drawn to psychopaths, murderers, and masterminds? Why do the bad guys get the best lines, the best outfits, and a massive chunk of our real estate in pop culture? The answer isn't that you're secretly a bad person. The answer lies deep in our own subconscious. Today, we are diving deep into the psychology of the villain. We're going to look at why our brains are hardwired to be fascinated by the dark side, what famous villains tell us about real-world mental health, and why a villain's mind is actually just a funhouse mirror reflecting our own hidden desires. Welcome to the channel. Let's get into it. To truly understand the villain, we first have to understand a concept popularized by the famous Swiss psychoanalyst Carl Jung. He called it the shadow. Jung theorized that every single one of us has a dark side. The shadow is the hidden, unconscious part of our personality where we bury all of our socially unacceptable urges. Anger, selfishness, greed, the desire for absolute control, or the urge to scream at someone who cuts you off in traffic. We push these feelings down, compress them, and hide them away because society tells us we have to if we want to fit in. Most of us spend our entire lives keeping our shadow locked up. But villains? Villains don't have a shadow. They are the shadow. They do the things we are too scared, too polite, or too moral to do. They don't apologize. They don't conform. When we watch a villain break all the rules without feeling a single shred of guilt, it actually provides us with something called psychological catharsis. Catharsis is the emotional release we feel when we experience something intense, safely. By watching a villain act out our darkest impulses on a screen, we get to safely explore our own rebellious urges from the comfort of our couch. We get to let the shadow out to play for 2 hours and then safely lock it back up when the credits roll. Let's look at how this plays out with specific archetypes. First up, the nihilist, and there is no better example than the Joker. Pop culture likes to casually label the Joker as psychopathic or insane, but clinically speaking, the Joker represents pure weaponized nihilism. Nihilism is the belief that life is meaningless and therefore all moral principles are entirely made up. The Joker operates almost entirely on what Sigmund Freud called the EE, our primal, chaotic, impulse-driven self. Most villains want something tangible: money, power, revenge, or world domination. The Joker is terrifying because he doesn't want any of those things. He wants to prove a psychological point, that morality is a fragile joke, and that anyone, even the best of us, is just one bad day away from becoming him. We find the Joker fascinating because he pokes holes in the social contract. We all agree to follow the rules of society to keep things peaceful. The Joker reminds us of the terrifying reality that those rules only exist in our heads. He represents our deepest fear of absolute chaos. But not all villains want chaos. In fact, some of the most dangerous villains are the ones who are obsessed with order, the ones who look in the mirror and see a hero. Let's talk about the extremist savior, perfectly embodied by Thanos. Psychologists often analyze characters like Thanos through the lens of extreme utilitarianism and something called the God complex. Utilitarianism is an ethical theory that says the best action is the one that maximizes well-being for the greatest number of people. It's about the math. Thanos genuinely believes he is saving the universe from starvation and collapse. To do this, he exhibits traits of the dark triad in psychology: narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy. He is incredibly calculating. He completely lacks empathy for individual suffering, and he pure